If you've been going to the gym trying to build muscle, you would have inevitably thought about how many days you should be going to get the best results. You've probably looked online to find the answer, but get anything but a clear response. On one end of the internet, you've got the fitness influencers. They're training 5, 6, 7 days a week, and they swear by their programs, which they will try to sell you. But on the other end, you've got some guys training 2, 3, maybe 4 days a week at a push, saying they got it right. And if you look hard enough, you'll find some guys saying that you've got to be training multiple times a day, every day. These are typically the guys that are sticking needles filled with hormones in their bum. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, these guys aren't right, but sadly they're not also wrong. I'm going to tell you exactly how many days you need to be going to the gym by telling you the only 3 things that you need to know. So let's get into it. And subscribe. So that brings me on to factor number 1, which is training volume. Studies say that for your best efforts in building muscle, you need to hit 10 plus sets per muscle group per week, using a 5 to 30 rep range. That means across a 7-day period, you do anywhere from 10 sets per muscle group to 20 as an upper limit. Anything above that threshold is likely to do more damage than good, and anything under will be considered under training. There's actually studies out there that show the difference between doing 5 sets per muscle group per week and 10 sets per muscle group per week, and the results show roughly twice as much progress had been made. And if that's not enough proof for you, well, I don't know what to show you. So that seems simple enough, but this information alone is not enough to help you build muscle, because you could take this away and think, right, I'm just going to go cram 10, 15 sets in as little training days as possible, but that actually creates more problems than it's due. And it's these problems that we want to avoid, and this leads me on to the second important factor, which is progressive overload. In simple terms, providing a regular stimulus to a muscle. If you were to heat up a pot of water for whatever reason, at a certain point it would start to boil and change. Just like building muscle, if you provide enough of a stimulus, it will then adapt and grow. So how do we do that? Honestly, just doing a little bit more each time. Adding a little bit more weight to the bar, doing a few more reps than normal. It might not seem like a lot, but the compounding effect of adding an extra rep per session or an extra kilo for a year or however so long is going to seriously add up. Where people go wrong with progressive overload is A, they forget to track what they're doing, which is the equivalent of, imagine you're following a recipe, right? And each step by step leads you to the next. If you don't know what step you've just completed, you don't know which one to do next, and then that creates a problem, and that's why you need to track what you're doing. And B, where people go wrong, is they're not training hard enough. Most people compensate the fact they're not training hard enough for more sets, and it's been shown that to build muscle, you need to be in and around 2 reps from failure. So no, you don't need to push yourself to near shivering for your dear life failure, but what you do need to do is push yourself each time for more reps or more weight. But most people go in and compensate intensity for more sets because they think that's what you need to do. You'll do something like 6 sets of bench and then 5, 6 sets of flies and then 3 sets of push-ups. But studies show on average anything past 6 sets per muscle group in a session starts to become useless. So only 6 out of those 16 odd sets are worth it. A better approach would be to do 2-3 sets for a muscle group with 2-3 sets each per exercise. And then you repeat that twice a week so you hit your weekly set target. This way you can effectively progressive overload and get the most out of every exercise. Which leads me on to the third and arguably most important factor, which is recovery. Building muscle is literally just stimulus, recover, stimulus, recover. If you train hard to that intensity every day, after about 3 days, that output you've got is going to start to decrease until a point where you physically can't do anything. And then your body will force you to rest. It's actually your central nervous system telling you to shut up and have a rest. Therefore, recovering is just as important as training. So how do we maximize recovery? You sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. You eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And you minimize stress as much as you possibly can. So with all of this, we can work out how many days to train per week. We don't want to train too much because we need to recover, like we just said. So that takes out you and that takes out you. And we don't want to train too little because A, we want to provide enough of a stimulus, and B, we don't want to have to cram it in as little time as possible, which cuts out you and cuts out you. So then we're left with what I call the sweet zone. These bad boys. Any one of these days, 3, 4, and 5, I think is perfect. I've stuck to these for my training programs, my clients' training programs, and we've all made phenomenal progress. But take this with a pinch of salt and work out what works best for you. I have 3 training programs in my Instagram bio, so just follow that link if you want one. If you found this useful, then please like the video and subscribe for more regular content. See you later.